2022, Ukraine has found itself in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Understanding the situation in Ukraine has now become a lot more important with regards to the future of world affairs. Yet, one of the most important pieces of information about the country, its population, is unknown. So what is the actual population of Ukraine? The first question we should ask is, why is it so important to understand the exact number of people living within a country's borders? During peacetime, this number is important because it allows us to figure out whether or not the quality of life in these countries is actually improving. You can't calculate the GDP per capita of a country, as an example, if you don't know what the population that's living in that country actually is. During wartime, you have additional factors like trying to figure out how much manpower there is available in the country, understanding humanitarian aid requirements, and figuring out refugee statistics. So what was the population of the country before the war? In 2019, Ukraine did an electronic census that found 37.3 million people living in Ukraine minus Crimea. Out of this 37.3 million people, there was 20 million women and 17.3 million men. This was about 5 million less than most international institutions had assumed were living in the country. We'll use that number as a starting point. Now, going from that census till the start of the war, according to the statistics of the government of Ukraine, there were 800,000 more deaths than births. This would reduce the population from about 37.3 million to about 36.5 million. This now brings us to the start of the war and the effect of the actual war on the population of Ukraine. According to the United Nations, 8 million people have fled the country from the start of the war until the end of January 2023. That would reduce the population of Ukraine minus Crimea to about 28.5 million people. The next question to ask is, how many people have been killed? The largest estimates for number of dead is about 200,000 people. But as we have no clear evidence either way, we won't be including those numbers here. The final aspect to this question is, considering that Russia currently, as of February 2023, controls about 20% of the country, what is the actual population under Kyiv's direct control? The pre-war population of this part of Ukraine was about 8 million people. The question is, how many of those have actually stayed since the war? While it's impossible to actually get these numbers, eyewitness accounts of the people on the ground suggest that this may be up to about 50 to 60% of the pre-war population. This would suggest about 3 to 4 million people living in the Russian-controlled part of Ukraine that doesn't include Crimea. In conclusion, the population of Ukraine in its pre-2014 borders, not including Crimea, is probably about 28.5 million people. And the population of Ukraine that is directly under the control of the Kyiv government is anywhere between 23.5 to 24.5 million people.